everybody, welcome to the studio. Today on the program we're going to talk about the Marshall DSL40CR rear panel features and how you assign the master volumes to the two channels. So we're going to talk about that first before we flip the amp around. And so basically this amp has from the factory two channels that it comes with. You get a nice little foot switch with it, a 2-button foot switch, y'all. And from it, you can change the two channels and turn the effects loop on and off. You also get like 40 miles of cable with this pedal, so you can safely place your amp across the street and gig from your seat at the bar, I guess. I don't know, but that's the switch. It plugs into a nice and obvious white nutted jack in the back. See my butt? Do you like that? That's pretty good stuff, wasn't it? So, amp is on, and as you can see, I'll hit that, and that changes our channel. So we're going green light to green light. That means we're going clean channel on classic gain to OD1 on ultra gain. So from our feet, if we're only using this thing, we've only got two channels. Now, that said, if you have a MIDI controller or the 6-button foot switch from Marshall sold separately, you can then access two more channels. So it's technically not two channels, it's two different voicings, but to me, if I can hit a button on the floor and it changes the sound entirely, that's a new channel. And I have control over that a little bit, that's a new channel. This is a 4-channel amp for me, and so you've also got the effects loop button here. We'll toggle the effects loop on and off, and that's handy. For me personally, my effects pretty much come from my pedal board, so it just stays on. So that takes us to the master volumes. So how do these master volumes work? I was in Guitar Center picking up this amp, which was a replacement, and we can talk about that in a minute too. But I was in there, and there's a guy in there, a sales rep, Dr. McFarland. Look him up on YouTube. Awesome channel, tons of content, all kinds of great stuff. He didn't even really understand how the master volumes work, so I explained it to him. And how to get them assigned and stuff. So I figured it's probably worthwhile to run through it real quick. So if you haven't, messed with the master volumes on this, here's how they work. So I would go against what people say when people say, turn those masters all the way up, dude, dime them. It's the only way to get the right sound out of this amp. I wouldn't agree with that. I think that's one school of thought, sure, but that if you want that, just get an older model of DSL. You don't need this one with the master volumes because you're not using them. You're just maxing them out. That's what used to be going on. So basically, your tone, you're going to get a good bit of your tone from the power tube, sure. And if you drive them, something will happen, and maybe you like that sound. The majority of your tone is going to come from your preamp and your preamp tubes. And so you're going to get good tone from your power amp tubes, even at mid volume or low volumes. It's okay. You don't have to blow them to sky high. That said, what do we do with these master volumes? Why do we have two master volumes? How do they work? What might I do with them? So I'll just show you what I do with them. That's the easiest and fastest thing. And so we've got 4 channels. 1 is clean, 2 is a little bit dirty, 3 is a little bit dirtier, and 4 is even just ultra gain. It's wild. So the volumes across the board are pretty even, except for channel 2. The crunch side of classic gain is a lot louder than everything else. And so since we still do have a shared gain and volume for each one of these channels, the master volume allows me to get the volume mix correctly. Check out my main demo video for this, and you can see me blaze through channels, go one by one real fast, and how all the volumes are nice and level or even. Hopefully, we'll see. So what I do, you can see the green lights. So you want to watch your lights. You got green lights happening on master and this one. So obviously, if I tag this button, that light changes to red, and I've gone into the crunch voicing. That thing has also changed to red, and you go, that's interesting. So if I hit this button, it's going to change both of those. Okay, and you're like, what's going on there? So that must mean that we've got the clean side is on master 1, lit up green, and the classic or the crunch side's on master 2, lit up red. If I wanted both of those to be on master 1 or 2, well, we'll say master 1. While I'm on 2, if the red thing is selected, I simply hit master select. It goes to green. It now is going to remember. So I go back to green. Of course, it knows master 1 is for this one. I go here. Oh, look, it stayed on master 1. So it remembers that last setting. So that's handy. Same thing over on the other channel. OD1, OD2 are both staying green. What if I wanted OD2 to be red? Then I flip that to red. And as I go between them, now it goes green to red. Green to red. Easy enough. It's going to remember. It's going to remember your last setting. So for me, on this channel, I do my clean on master 1, green, my crunch on master 2, red. And I go to my other channel, my clean is on green, and my crunch is also on green. So, done right across. And if I switch back, we'll see crunch number 2, yep, is red, and the rest should all be green. 1 is green, change channels, green, OD2, green. That's how the master volumes work. And so in my case, like I said, 2 is crunch. Channel 2 is a little bit hotter, so you can see my masters there reflect that. Master 2 is turned down a little bit more off of master 1. So how easy was that, right? That's how the master volumes work. And like I said, you've got excuse me, this nice 80-foot extended pedal to switch between your channels. So that works. If you really want to do it right, get a Midi Switcher, and you'll see one of the things on the back of this amp is a MIDI jack. And if I plug, now the 2-foot switch systems do not work together. You've got to have either one plugged in or the other. But the MIDI's plugged in now, and I can, as you can see, we are, let's see, so patch 1 for me, right on that, 2, 3, and 4. How easy is that? It goes right on through. It even is going to remember, a good thing to point out, I noticed my loop turned off for one of my patches. And that doesn't happen. The loop also remembers. How easy is that? So all I have to do to get it back is turn it back on. Now when I go through all these, the loop should be on. That one it wasn't. We'll turn it back on. Just goofing with it a minute ago. So that one wasn't. Turn it back on. And now looky there, it remembers. Easy. So I love that feature. The way it remembers the last setting is super useful and helpful. So that is enough about that. Let's pull that pedal out of the way now. Let me flip this amp around. I'm going to disconnect this MIDI pedal. Turn that amp around whilst I'm sliding something. That was a light. So on the rear panel here, what we're looking at, assuming we're still in frame on our video here, almost. That'll probably do it. So what we're looking at, we've of course got our power input coming in here. Next in line is a MIDI in. Then we have an effects loop, a foot switch jack, audio in, emulated out, and speaker jacks. So going right along, that MIDI in is wonderful. That lets you change your channels. It lets you, so per patch, you can change a channel, assign a master, and turn the effects loop on and off with a MIDI foot switch just with one button. Super handy and cool. Next is the effects loop. Everybody knows how to work an effects loop. Same with the foot switch. The next 2 jacks I have not messed with yet. And the next thing I do in here before I tear all this stuff down is I will play with the emulated out of this amp. And we'll see what it sounds like. If we have to do anything to make it sound right, you know, if it's usable, maybe it's just maybe good for a headphone amp. I've read various things, so we'll see. Next in line and super cool about this amp is the speaker options. You got a lot of any cabinet that you probably have around your place, you can probably plug it in and have an extension cabinet. So you've got options for, if we go left to right, you got a 2 that you can plug 1 4-ohm mono speaker into the first jack, or you can plug 2 8-ohms. The next 2 are 16 ohms. You can plug 1 16 or 2 16s. that's too easy. 116 is the final, which is what's in there. So it's super versatile in every aspect. You can even bias this amp. Check this link out, and you can see I show the biasing ports and controls for the power tubes on this amp. So that makes me think about the discussion of the quality of this amp. And so, like I said, this is my second one, and I think I've got a decent one. I know there's been a lot of problems that people have had with these amps due to manufacturing. So I'm hoping that since mine is definitely later, produced pretty recently, I'm going to hope that a lot of that stuff has been ironed out, because this one seems to do pretty well. So full disclosure, the first one I brought home had a crazy rattle in the bottom of the cabinet, like near where the speaker, like it may have been the speaker cat, I don't know. It just wasn't right. So I traded that out and brought this one home, and it had a rattle in the power tube, in one of the power tubes. So what I ended up doing was replacing the power tubes. Guitar Center, where I bought it, was super cool. GC Pro is an awesome program. And so they were awesome and worked with me, got me some new tubes, and I replaced those, and everything's been great so far. I've run the amp, I don't know, probably 15 or 20 hours, and I've not had any issues yet. So I'll be gigging this amp around Nashville. I'll report back in if I have any problems with it. Hopefully I do not, but we'll see. You know, it's how things go. Usually I am the guy that gets the lemon, and this time it seems as though I did not get the lemon. So that's a quick look at the back of this amp. I don't know if there's anything. I don't think I forgot anything. That's probably good to go. So if I did, drop it in the comments. Hit the subscribe thing. Help your boy out, and look around for something else interesting to do. Don't stop learning. Talk to you guys later. See you.